Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Danielle. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on the Les, which is our listeners' experience zone.
We have a confession to make.
Yeah, not proud of it.
Not proud of it. We have been watching a lot of men's sports.
We have. Between the Knicks being in the NBA Finals and us being from New Jersey, there's a pull there. And then the World Cup.
Yeah, it just gets you in. This is definitely the most men's sports I have watched since we started the podcast.
Yeah, same.
I simply do not watch them anymore, but there's been excitement around it, and I'm always down to get down. With the home team, and it's just been so cool to see what's happening in New York City.
For sure. Coming from that area and having spent so much time in the city when we were living there, it is fun to see all the excitement and just people going wild. I do wish I was at a bar in New York City during one of the games because it just looked so much fun.
This is the only time that I feel really homesick for New Jersey, New York, is when the city is just going wild. I remember my freshman year of college, I was really into the Yankees. And my freshman year of college, the Yankees won the World Series. I was never more homesick. And I'm feeling pretty homesick right now with everything that's going on with the Knicks. I have no Knicks gear, but I do have this Maggie Rogers t-shirt. It says, and by the way, the Knicks lost. And I was wearing this today out and someone was like, go Knicks. And they were like, hold on, is that a Knicks shirt? And I was like, yeah, it is. I also just think it's really cool that I think for like the past 10 years when people have flooded the streets, it's because something horrible happened in the US and people had to protest. And I think it's just like so nice that people are flooding the streets in New York because they're so excited. I don't know. It's just doing something for me. It's healing something in me that needed a lot of healing.
I think it's been really fun to see everything on social media and on the television and just everyone gathering together around that team.
Definitely. And with the World Cup going on, it's really cool to see all these nations come together and also the supporters from all the nations. I give the supporters so much credit for coming to the US and just bawling out and supporting their team. I don't know. There's some cool cultural things that is really what's drawing me to it. Not so much the men's sports aspect, but the culture around it that I'm really, really enjoying.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I think that was like 3 minutes. That's your 3 minutes of the year of men's sports talk. Also this past weekend, you saw Bend It Like Beckham for the first time.
The whole time watching the movie, I'm like, none of this is ringing a bell. I really don't think I've ever seen this.
That's criminal. And I'm so happy that after 11 years together, we finally got you to see it.
And I loved it. It was great. I laughed a lot. I mean, the graphics are horrible because it's so old, but it was a funny, cute movie. There were some cringe parts, like the players falling in love with the coach and the coach also falling in love with the players. Like, not sure we should be doing that. But aside from that, it was great.
So I think overall, it's still pretty much holds up. The jokes in it are they're really funny.
Yeah.
And it's still a good movie. My feedback, it is way too long.
It's very long.
It's almost 2 hours long. And I'm like, we did not need this to be too long. The coach storyline just does not need to be there. I just need Jess and Jules' friendship and potential more than friendship. Like, they need to redo Bend It Like Beckham and make it a queer movie. It would be so great.
I agree. And there were parts where people were under the impression they might be dating,
yes.
like the mom and
Jules' mom.
It was just so funny. Some of the things that were said, I'm like, why are all parents like this? It would be so much better if they actually were in love with each other.
Yes. And then there was a horrible scene where Jess gets a red card and she's really upset. And she goes and she talks to her coach, and there's a horribly inappropriate relationship between the coach and both Jess and Jules. She pretty much says, like, I didn't just lose my cool. The player called me a racial slur. And he's like...
And she said, you wouldn't understand what that feels like.
Jess is Indian. This man is white. And he's like, Jess, you don't think I know how that feels?
He said, Jess, I'm Irish. Of course I understand.
And I know that Irish people get some shit in the UK, but to us US people watching, I was like, that is not a comparison.
Yeah, that was bad.
At all. at all. But that was like the most cringy I got throughout it, besides the whole relationship, which was like totally inappropriate. And then they end up getting together. I think they could have taken that all out. But the culture, the jokes within both Indian culture and then Jules and her mom, I just thought, yeah, it still holds. And like Jess's relationship with her dad, I just think is awesome in it.
Mhm.
So if you haven't watched Bend It Like Beckham,
Yeah, I would recommend.
and like, oops, we spoiled it, but it's more than 11 years old. It is very old. So go back and watch Bend It Like Beckham when you have 2 hours of time. All right, let's get into the les for this week. Our listener experience zone. We have a letter today from Angela. And it reads, "Hi, Danielle and Carolyn. I was listening to episode 125 and had to write in after hearing Danielle say she might be becoming a Golden State Valkyries fan. Still a fan?
Yes, very much. I'm definitely falling more in love with this team.
As a Valkyrie season ticket holder, I can officially confirm that there's plenty of room for you on the bandwagon.
Thank you.
They're incredibly easy to love, and Valhalla is honestly one of the most magical environments in sports right now. Agreed. You both really need to make it out to a game. One of my favorite parts of being a Valkyries fan has been the community that has formed around the team. Beyond the incredible atmosphere in the arena, there's a growing group of queer fans called the Valkyries. Like the Valkyries, but the Valkyries.
Yep.
We get together for watch parties, game meetups, and other events, building community through our shared love of the WNBA and the Valkyries. Since it's Pride Month, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the intersection of the LGBTQ plus community and women's sports. Women's sports have long been a space where queer athletes and fans have found visibility, belonging, and connection, and it feels like we're seeing the community become even more celebrated and mainstream as the leagues continue to grow. I'm curious how you both think about that relationship and how it has evolved. Thank you for all you do to grow women's sports and keep us fans informed and entertained each week. Go Valkyries, Angela."
What a nice note. I love that. And thanks for welcoming me on the bandwagon.
So do you have any initial thoughts, intersection of LGBTQ plus community and women's sports?
Yeah, I think it's always been so relevant. There's a lot of queer players and then the community around the WNBA, especially, and just women's sports in general. I feel like the queer community has always showed up and I just love it. And I love that there's been more groups popping up and watch parties. And I think it's so important.
Agreed. I think that the reason why I'm so drawn to women's sports is it really invites people to show up authentically as they are, and has been such a safe haven for the queer community. And I think when you go to a game, and I can imagine this is at Valhalla, but like any women's sports event we go to, you see so many queer people, both on the field and in the stands. And then you see all types of people. And I think there is this idea in the political environment that queer people are somehow so separate from community and from traditional families. And you go to a game and you see queer people and traditional families, like cis families with kids together, and everyone is getting along. And it's just like this beautiful, beautiful environment.
I think it's just an important thing to have. And even for the players to have the support of their own community is so cool.
And I think for us, we have been really intentional about our queer community within the past few years, like kind of leading right into the podcast of wanting to build that. And I think women's sports, like if you're queer and you're like, I don't have my community, I think women's sports is just such a beautiful place to start because it is such a welcoming environment. And the connections that we've made through this podcast, through joining events with the women's basketball club, through having a space like the 99ers, it's just like really, really astounding.
Definitely.
And if you feel like you don't have your community right now, you can go out and create your community. And I think one of the biggest things for us, and as much as like I complain about Run Club, but Run Club has become like a haven for us. And it's queer people and straight people and across the LGBTQ plus spectrum, like truly. And it's just this amazing thing that I am just feel so lucky to be part of every week.
Yeah, same. We've been constantly saying how lucky we feel. And as the community continues to grow, it's just really special.
Yeah. And I think for women's sports leagues, they were built on the LGBTQ plus community, both the players and the fans. And I think there's this idea as women's sports grows that it kind of happened. And this is, again, like a political thing that I've heard of, like women's sports grows kind of in spite of its LGBTQ plus community. Like if it was more straight, if it appealed more to more people, that it would be bigger. And I think we show time and time again that's not what it is. I think women's sports grows because of the LGBTQ plus community. I think historically the LGBTQ plus queer community has always been one step ahead on the trends. And then those trends then filter down into the rest of people. And we say this time and time again, it's not that you need to platform a white, cis, straight player in order to get people to watch. You just need to make the games more available.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, people will watch. When the WNBA started in 1997, games were sold out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just stopped. So why did that happen? It's not because the product got worse or anything like that. It had everything to do with the media and how it was portrayed. And now we're starting to see a shift and more people are coming in like, oh my gosh, this is great. And if I love sports, then why aren't I watching women's sports? And so it doesn't happen in spite of the LGBTQ plus community. It happens because, and the big shift is that we needed, media and the people who buy the broadcasting rights to have the same amount of investment and believe in it.
Yeah, I love that. All great points.
And then finally, I just want to end this by saying, I think everyone, whether you're queer, straight, anywhere in between, want a place to feel like they belong. And especially compared to men's sports, I think women's sports does such a good job of like, you can be new. You can have no idea what's going on. As long as you show up respectful and ready to learn, people are like, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love that. People want to feel connected. They want community. And I think if we could just remember that at the end of the day, we'd all be a lot better off.
Yeah. So thanks again, Angela. You were a perfect example of all of that.
Yeah, and I want to hang out with the Valkyries.
Same. We got to plan a trip out there.
We do. All right, let's talk about the WNBA. Let's get into the Aces versus the Lynx, who played last Saturday, and the Aces won 100-97.
Going into this game, I was like, this is going to be a really good game. We have to watch. We were tag teaming this and the Knicks game, and I'm really happy we caught this one because it was so exciting.
Yes, and I will say that we did turn the Knicks game off to watch the end of this so that we could focus, which happened to be like right around the halftime time, but it was good timing. So with this win, the Aces took the West lead in the Commissioner's Cup. And as a reminder, the Commissioner's Cup is a mid-season tournament where the top team in the East plays the top team in the West based on a certain number of games in the middle of the season, and they play on June 30th. For the Cup championship, that comes along with money, more recognition, all that good stuff. In this game, A'ja Wilson had 24 points and 10 rebounds. She played amazingly, as she always does. And I just need to say that the Lynx trailed by 15 in the first half because Chelsea Gray was shooting 4 for 5 from the three-point line. And she also finished with 23 points and 7 assists. But then the Minnesota Lynx just came tracking on back, making a nice little Knicks run to see if they could get it. They weren't able to finish it out like the Knicks, but
Yeah, it was still a lot of fun, and we were watching them slowly chip away, and we were like, they might pull this off. At one point, Kayla McBride hit that turnaround three, and I was like, what the hell? Her release is just so quick. It's insane.
We need to get into the Olivia Miles of it all, too.
Yes. It's so fun watching her play. I turned to you, and I was like, obviously, she's the point guard, so it makes sense that her teammates are looking to her, but for your team to look at you and you are a rookie and the way they look for her in such key moments and pivotal moments of the game, it's really cool to see and really amazing because the Lynx are a team that are well established. They have had a core group of players for a long time. They're a really good team. It's not like she's just showing up to the worst team in the league. And they look to her and she scores buckets in intense moments.
Yeah, they want the ball in her hands at the end. And she ended up having a career high 29 points in this game. She had 12 points alone in the fourth quarter. She was going up against A'ja Wilson multiple times, went downhill, got a quick 2 against A'ja Wilson, and then does it again and gets the and 1 foul. Against A'ja Wilson, just totally fearless. So the 3-point play that I just mentioned actually gave the Lynx a lead, 94-93 with 48 seconds left. The Aces come down the court. Jewel Lloyd throws up a 3 and Kayla McBride fouls her.
That was a tough foul. She did everything in her power to avoid her, but she just clipped Jewel's hand and that was a rough one.
Jewel Lloyd makes all 3, which we knew. We were like, oh, she's making all 3 of these foul shots. But then the Lynx just kept going to Olivia Miles. We were watching and we were just like, oh my gosh, they're just trusting Olivia Miles. And what does she do? She made a go-ahead 3 to put the Lynx up by 1 again with 24.5 seconds left to play. But then A'ja Wilson gets the ball. She draws a quick foul. She's going to hit her free throws. Las Vegas goes back up. and then ball in Olivia Miles' hands again with 7 seconds left. And she gets a shot at the top of the key. Not the best look, but like she had the hot hand and she misses and the Aces end up winning. I have to note that that miss was her only miss of the fourth quarter.
That's
she was
wild.
5 for 6. So my question to you, and I asked you this when we were watching the game over the weekend, is do you think Olivia Miles thinks the WNBA is easy?
She sure makes it look easy. I would love to pick her brain and ask her.
Because if I'm Olivia Miles and I'm playing the way that I'm playing, and everyone tells me that the WNBA is more physical, just wait till you get to the WNBA. It's going to be so difficult. And she's just like, oh, hey, Asia Wilson, best player in the world. Sure, I'm going to go downhill on you and I'm going to score every time. It just is so, it's amazing to me.
Yeah, I knew Olivia Miles would be good in the WNBA. I did not think she would explode the way she has been. She's just been playing on another level, and nothing against her, just as a rookie, it takes an adjustment, but there's been no adjustment period for her. She's just been a force to be reckoned with.
That's exactly right. The Aces actually with this win ended up ending the Lynx 8-game winning streak. But I do have to say, like, Nafisa Collier's not even back. We also had this conversation this past weekend. If I'm Cheryl Reeve, I'm like, Nafisa, take your time. Not because we don't need you, but because we need you 100%. And we're doing okay without you. Like, we've got, like, I can't even imagine what the Lynx are going to look like when Nafisa Collier gets back and they're just revving at all cylinders.
Yeah.
Scary thought.
It's amazing.
All right, let's get into some updates for this week.
Yeah, starting with Run Club. We have Run Club this Thursday and every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time here in Denver at the 99ers Sports Bar. Each week we run 3 miles, and if you listen to our podcast and share the secret word with the bartenders after our run, you will get 50% off your first draft. The secret word this week is Olivia.
Shout out. We also need to ask you to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. We love putting this podcast together, and we want to continue to do it. And in order to continue to do it, we need you to support us. So please rate, subscribe, give us a positive review, and share with the people you love. We do this podcast by ourselves. We create, produce, and edit the podcast all by our lonesome. And so when you rate us, when you subscribe, when you give us a positive review, it does so much to get our podcast out to more people. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast so far. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker for free in the mail. You can send it to us via email or DM us on our Instagram. Okay, let's get into our deep dive for this week.
Let's do it.
We are talking about Kelsey Pfendler. Do you know who Kelsey Pfendler is?
I do. She is making a trek, trying to be the first American woman to row from California all the way to Hawaii.
Yes. Shout out to Beth from Run Club who told us about Kelsey and told us to start looking at her. So she is an ocean rower. On May 21st, she departed Monterey, California aboard a rowing boat named Lily in an attempt to row solo and unsupported to Hawaii. So solo and unsupported means no one else is on the boat. She has like connections through radio to a medic and to all these other people who are helping her from afar. But she is out there all by herself.
Something I would literally never even dream of considering doing.
The boat is 21 feet in length and 5.5 feet wide. It weighs approximately 730 pounds, so it's a big old thing she's moving, but it's also small considering how big the ocean is.
Yeah, that weighs a lot more than I thought it was.
And the boat has no sail, no engine. It is just her rowing with her 2 oars. The route that she is attempting to go is approximately 2,400 miles from California to Oahu. And it's important to note that she's done this route before, but with a team. So she knows it. She knows the water, which I think is an advantage to her. But if she's successful, she would become the first American woman to complete the California to Hawaii solo row, potentially the youngest woman to do so, and the fastest woman to do so.
Wow.
The current world record is 86 days, 10 hours, and 5 minutes, and it's held by Leah Ditton from the UK. Only 2 other women have done this row. So if Kelsey is able to do this quicker than Leah Ditton did, she would be the 3rd person to do it, the youngest and the fastest.
Ooh.
And the first American. By the time this episode comes out, she'll be around day 28. And so you think she's aiming for under 86 days. So she's a third of the way there. Very interesting. It's been really cool to watch. She is raising money for the Whale Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that supports the mental, physical, and financial well-being of the Grand Canyon river guiding community. And she is posting videos every day on Instagram. You must follow her. Her Instagram is at @urokelsey, and her videos show how much she eats in a day.
Yeah.
She aims for 4,000 calories, and you were watching that video and you were like, whew, that's a lot of processed food.
Yeah, I feel like I would feel so ill on her diet. And I understand why she's eating like that, because not much is staying fresh on a boat in the middle of the ocean. But so many freezer dried meals and just like crap.
Yeah, like freeze-dried meals that you just add boiling water to. And she
Oh.
said, she's like, I just tried to slurp them down.
Ew, ew, ew.
And
That like makes my stomach hurt.
She's just trying to get calories throughout the day. And then she also does not sleep a lot.
No.
So she aims to sleep for 2.5 hours at a time and then just get back up and row. She has videos where she's rowing in the middle of the night and blasting music by herself in the middle of the ocean to try to stay awake. She's posted videos of dolphins she's seen. She posts videos of her having to clean her boat to make sure she gets any like barnacles off of it. So she's jumping into the water, getting underneath the boat in the middle of the ocean by herself, trying to get these barnacles off because she doesn't want anything that could potentially slow her down.
That's terrifying. I would just be so worried about sharks and whales. Like, what the hell?
I know. I just really admire whatever her mental is, seems really amazing. She also talks about like good days and bad days. She posted a video where she got up. Her alarm went off after 2.5 hours, but then she said she was like putting her pants on and must have fallen back asleep and woke up again 2 hours later and her boat had drifted. And she was like, I was just so critical of myself of like, is this how you do something right? And you hear her talking to herself on the boat and you're just like, oh, just be nice to yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing so, so great. But when it's just you all alone, I'm sure that, you know, your mind can really reel.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I really am curious to see if she's going to be able to do this. I'm really rooting for her. And I want everyone to go and follow her at @urokelsey on Instagram. You can track her progress. Also on her Instagram is a link where you can see exactly where her boat is and how close she's getting to Hawaii. It's a really cool thing to watch.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, let's get into what we're looking forward to this week. Danielle, what do you have?
As we had mentioned, the Commissioner's Cup has been going on and it actually wraps up today. So today, Wednesday, June 17th, the New York Liberty take on the Chicago Sky at 8 p.m. Eastern on League Pass. Check it out.
And I'm looking forward to also today, the Aces take on the Phoenix Mercury at 10 p.m. Eastern time on League Pass, also part of the Commissioner's Cup. So these are the ending games of the Commissioner's Cup, and then the championship game will be on June 30th. And at the time of recording, both New York and Las Vegas are the top seeds for the eastern side. Obviously, that's New York, and the western side, Las Vegas. So we'll see how these games go, but it could be those two head-to-head on June 30th.
And that is it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.